Hi, I'm Jonah here from Magnanimous Media, and this is the Sony FS7. In this video, we'll discuss the best application for the FS7, camera package considerations, operation, and workflow. The FS7 is a 4K capable Super 35mm Sony E-mount camera, and somewhat of a replacement for the popular FS700. The FS7 records 4K internally in Quad HD as well as HD in a number of flavors. Similar to the FS700, the FS7 is also capable of recording 4K and 2K RAW by making use of an external recorder. In line with the F5 and F55, the FS7 is clearly intended to be a shoulder-borne camera, but unlike the F5 and 55, the FS7 comes out of the box ready for the shoulder. There is a built-in shoulder pad and rosette locking articulating arm and hand grip with rocker servo zoom control, as well as start-stop and an assignable button. On the smart side of the camera, it has a simple interface in the familiar Sony layout, with toggle switches for ISO and white balance, a number of shortcut buttons, assignable buttons, and internal ND turret. All of these features make the FS7 a more focused nonfiction camera. It's lightweight, has a number of internal record options for both high-quality recording and long record times, and it's laid out so that a single operator can operate the camera effectively and move quickly. However, the FS7 is also designed to be versatile. With RAW recording and high frame rates, indie music videos and narratives are also another possible use for the FS7. Now let's discuss considerations for an FS7 package, namely input-output options, lens selection, media, and power. The FS7 features 2 SDI and 1 HDMI and proprietary viewfinder output, each of which can have an output LUT applied, 2 XLR inputs, and a remote input for the rocker. The FS7 has Sony's E-mount. There are a number of lenses in third-party companies such as Zeiss, Rokinon, and Bauer that make lenses available in E-mount, but also the Sony kit lens and Sony FE-PZ 28-135 zoom, which allow you to make use of the rocker for servo zooms. If you'd like to make use of cinema lenses or other high-quality still lenses, you can use an adapter, such as the Metabones EF Smart Adapter or a PL mount adapter. Keep in mind that the FS7 has a Super 35mm sensor, so plan your lens package accordingly, unless making use of a Metabone speed booster, which will effectively make all of your glass wider and faster. Now that we've talked about some of the considerations for an FS7 package, we can move on to operation and talk about some of the features of the FS7. For internal recording, the FS7 records in a number of resolutions, compressions, and frame rates available in Cine EI or custom shooting mode. XAVC Intra is the highest data rate codec and provides 10-bit 422 sampling at 600 megabits per second. XAVC L, or long GOP, provides 10-bit 422 in a significantly lower variable bit rate, which is ideal for long recording times. MPEG HD 422 allows for HD or 720p recording at 2398 to 5994 without the option of slow and quick mode. Apple ProRes can be recorded in 422 and 422 HQ at 2398 to 5994 without the option of slow and quick mode. For internal recording, the FS7 makes use of up to 2 XQD cards. A single 32GB card will allow for 15 minutes of Quad HD XAVC, 30 minutes of HD XAVC, and 45 minutes of MPEG at 2398. External RAW recording is only accessible in Cine Exposure Index shooting mode. Once in Cine EI, you have the option of recording RAW only, or RAW with internally recorded XAVC Intra, XAVC Long GOP, or MPEG HD 422. When externally recording RAW and internally recording proxies, the internal footage will be limited to HD resolution with no S&Q option. Once RAW is activated, you can use the record menu to set RAW output format. For external RAW recording, there are a number of recorder options. Sony's RAW option is the HXR IF45 interface and R5 recorder. The R5 records 4K and 2K 12-bit Sony RAW at 2398 to 5994. In 2K RAW, the R5 is capable of recording 120 or 240 frames per second in S&Q mode. To set up the interface, simply run a 3G SDI cable from the RAW output on the FS7's extension unit to the input on the interface. After selecting a RAW format in the FS7 and powering the system, no further setup is required on the R5. The interface has a very simple menu that allows you to set up reel and clip naming identifiers, format media, set up fan control, set up clip chunking, which is sustained recording but broken into smaller clip sizes, or check the status of the device in media. Convergent Design's Odyssey 7Q is a third-party RAW recording option that provides diverse recording options in a smaller package. Once the FS7 recording options are unlocked, the 7Q provides the same 4K and 2K RAW recording support as the R5, but records to uncompressed D&G, which is widely supported in post. Additionally, the 7Q can utilize the 4K RAW signal to record 4K, Quad HD, 2K, and HD ProRes, as well as high-speed HD ProRes from 2K RAW S&Q output. To set up the 7Q, first activate the RAW output and run a 3G SDI from the Sony's RAW output to the SDI-A in on the 7Q. In the 7Q menu, go to Setup and select the Sony FS7 under Camera. Inside the FS7 menu, you can select the desired shooting mode. The 7Q will adapt to output changes, such as resolution or frame rate, from the FS7 as long as it is in the appropriate recording mode for that output. Keep in mind that some shooting modes will require the use of 2 SSDs and Convergent Design's clip merger software. The 7Q has the added advantage of tools such as waveform, histogram, false color, zebras, magnify, guides, and focus assists. The most useful tool is Lut Support. Pressing and holding any of the options allows you to change the settings related to that tool. If you press and hold Lut, you'll have access to a number of preset Luts, as well as the option of importing custom lookup tables from the SSD. The benefit of the R5 is staying within Sony's workflow, but it does extend the camera build quite a bit, as you'll still need to use an IF-R5 interface, like you did with the FS700. With the 7Q, you can essentially mount it like an AC monitor, but D&G will not workflow exactly like Sony RAW. With both recorders, you'll need to make use of the XDCA FS7 extension. This unit easily attaches to the rear of the camera body and adds a BNC RAW output, reference output, Genlock, timecode, 4-pin XLR power input, 4-pin Hiroshi power output, and V-mount IDX battery port. So even if you're not making use of RAW capabilities, there are benefits such as extending your runtime by using V-mount batteries. Without the extension unit, the FS7 can be powered by BP, U30, and U60 lithium-ion batteries. The FS7 can be controlled via Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi remote control allows you to use nearly any Wi-Fi capable device to remotely control the FS7 through a browser rather than an app. To set up Wi-Fi control, attach the IFU WLM3 to the WLAN port, then go to the Wi-Fi menu located in the System menu and enable Wi-Fi. Then open the SSID and Password menu. On your device, select the SSID in your wireless network settings and use the provided password to log on. After connecting the device, go to the Basic Authentication menu in the FS7 and set up a username and password, write them down, then go back to the Wi-Fi menu. On your device, open a browser and enter the IP address listed in the FS7 Wi-Fi menu in the address bar. You will be prompted for a username and password. Use the name and password set under the Authentication menu. After logging in, you'll see a number of interface options. The main menu allows you to set S&Q frame rates, shutter speed, white balance, and IMLET output, as well as ISO or exposure index. If using a Sony lens, you can also access iris, focus, and zoom control. The Assign menu allows you to activate or deactivate any of the assignable buttons programmed in the camera's menu. Playback is a simple playback interface. Cursor allows you to access the menu, user menu, thumbnail menu, and status menu, giving you the same control remotely that you have directly accessing the menu. Some other notable features include assignable buttons, dial, and APR. Using assignable buttons, you can put a number of useful features at your fingertips on the camera body rather than through the menu. APR stands for Active Pixel Noise Reduction. APR is very similar to black shading calibration on RED cameras. APR creates a noise map of the sensor, then uses the map to cancel inherent noise for a cleaner image. An APR should be done routinely, especially when moving between temperature variations approaching or above 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Allow the camera to get to operating temperature and secure the port cap before running an APR. So that's the Sony FS7. It's a versatile camera system, obviously at home in nonfiction, but it clearly has uses outside of documentary work. For more news and tutorials, check us out at magnanimous.biz.